The revolution's begun. The time to stand up has come. We are the rocking of the throne. We are the rocking of the throne.
Hi, this is Victor Tiffany, the co-founder of Revolt Against Plutocracy, with an update for our election strategy for 2020. As you recall, of course, we were the organization that was behind the Bernie or Bust movement. That was fundamentally a strategy of leverage. If you don't support a specific nominee for the White House, you're going to lose, because we're going to vote in 2016 for Green Party, and that is exactly what happened. The superdelegates ignored this leverage, and Donald Trump won the election. This time around, we wanted to again reapply leverage, but we weren't sure how. And then with the publication of the IPCC report back in October, it became clear to members of the committee that we had better do something about climate change, or else we're not going to be here, and we're running out of time. So on January 2nd, we launched Climate Preservation or Bust, Climate or Bust for short. And it just didn't catch on. In 2 months, we had fewer people taking the Climate or Bust voter pledge than we had on the very first day of the Bernie or Bust effort in June 22nd of 2015. So we thought about this. We were tempted to switch over to Bernie or Bust, but we looked at that and thought, well, this is going to be not fair to Tulsi Gabbard and her supporters, or Marianne Williamson and her supporters. She's a relatively unknown but very progressive Democrat who's running. So even though we took a poll of our supporters a couple of weeks ago, it lasted about a week, and Bernie Sanders got 69% support from people who took that poll, we decided to hold off for now. In fact, we got some feedback, some criticism of our supporters saying, this is too early. You can't take this poll yet. We have to let things sort of unwind on their own, see who catches on, see who has support and who doesn't, and to hold off. And that's what we decided to do, hold off on which specific candidate we're going to support for 2020 during the primaries in a leverage strategy, Bernie or Bust, Tulsi or trash the Democratic Party, or something like that. And for now, just stick with a generic progressive or bust. All of this will be spun over to a specific candidate when voters have had a chance to sort of figure out which of these progressive candidates has the best bet of unseating Donald Trump, or maybe just the best one that they want, regardless of their chances of unseating Donald Trump. Either way, we're going to hold off on candidate or bust for now and do progressive or bust. We encourage people to take that pledge. We're not going to carry over from 2015, 2016 to the leverage for this year. Every election cycle has to build its own leverage. So we encourage people to go to progressiveorbust.us, as in United States, and take a commitment, take a pledge to support. At this point, there's 3 progressives that were listed. As I said, Marianne Williamson, Tulsi Gabbard, and Bernie Sanders. Take a pledge to vote for one of those 3. If you support one of those 3, pledge to support one of those 3. And plan B, or bust, simply means you'll vote for a third-party candidate. You won't write in anyone. We figured out that was a mistake in 2016. So you're going to vote for a third-party candidate on the ballot. But what is definitely not the or bust option is to turn around and vote for Donald Trump. He is a proto-fascist. He is a neoliberal fascist. If you read Bernie or Bust, Pioneers of Electoral Revolt, our book, there's an exercise in it where you can evaluate candidates based on the 14 characteristics of fascism and the 14 characteristics of neoliberalism. And if you look at Trump honestly and objectively, you'll see that he has become, as Henry Giroux recently pointed out in Truth Out, or Truth Dig, I believe it was, Counterpunch, that's where it was. Trump has basically synthesized neoliberalism with fascism. He is a neoliberal fascist, kind of the worst of both worlds. So or bust never meant voting for a Republican candidate, or bust doesn't mean voting for the Democratic or the Republican candidate, and it doesn't mean blue no matter who. That's what we're in opposition to. Progressive or bust is the progressive side of, oh, Trump is so bad, you got to vote blue no matter who. Even though in our view, Joe Biden and Beto O'Rourke would be worse than Donald Trump. Those two pseudo-progressives, like Hillary Clinton was a pseudo-progressive, those two pseudo-progressives stand out as particularly bad candidates, maybe good candidates, but bad politicians with bad policy objectives and a little too close to the oligarchs that run this country. So go to progressiveorbust.us, take the pledge, start all over again, take the pledge for 2020 primaries. You're only going to support in the general election a primary or a progressive. So if the Democrats do not nominate a progressive, because voting third party in a two-party system takes support away from the minority party, in this case the Democrats, it will help elect Donald Trump. That's the nature of leverage. We're not going to vote for Trump, because that would be obnoxious and fascistic, but we're going to vote progressive no matter what, hopefully as a Democrat, because the Democrats are the party, the only party, unfortunately, in a two-party system who can unseat a Republican president. Maybe in 2024, that'll be different. Maybe the People's Party will be more advanced by 2024 and have a good shot at undermining one of the two corporate parties, the political duopoly of corporate Democrats and corporate Republicans. But for now, we're stuck with the Democratic Party. And the whole approach here is to compel, using leverage, compel the Democrats to get behind a progressive, or else Donald Trump gets reelected. Thank you. That's progressiveorbust.us, as in United States.
Revolt Against Plutocracy won't just be covering the news about the necessary revolution in the United States. Sometimes we'll be making the news. If you want to stay on top of the revolutionary actions and strategies of grassroots, genuine progressives, and our allies, please subscribe to our YouTube channel today.